A softer lineup of economic data, AMC above key resistance levels on a technical basis, now being firmly in a bullish uptrend, at least having a bullish overall sentiment with the stock. The fact that AMC short interest and cost to borrow rates are at levels that we have not seen since June of 2021. Keep in mind that is when AMC 10x'd in value. This is setting us up for potentially a massive upcoming week. You also are going to get AMC earnings on Tuesday, which is going to be really the big catalyst this week for AMC. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of this information. If you are a returning viewer, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. If you guys want to take it a step further and come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video. We will be making some trades for AMC earnings. Those will be posted down below in that group. Now, nonetheless, guys, don't take this as financial advice. We got to start off with this because these are my opinions. This is what the data looks like. There is definitely a very strong case to be had for a big upcoming week with AMC stock. I think that is pretty obvious, but it's also important to be the voice of reason and to explain to you guys, if you have money that you need for rent or bills or money that you could not afford to take to a casino and put on red or black and lose it all, then you shouldn't be gambling essentially with that money. So make sure you guys are doing your due diligence and you're responsible with your own decisions. That is important. Now, with that disclaimer out of the way, obviously not a financial advisor. None of this is a guarantee. Let's get into this video. And I think by the end of it, you'll be like, hey, there is a very strong case at the very minimum for a large move this week. So first things first, and we're just going to break down everything that I am currently looking at that makes me very bullish on AMC earnings. And number one is going to be, and this is not in order of like importance. Obviously, I would say the short interest cost to borrow rates. That's probably one of the more important things. You could say just this market environment's important. You could say the technicals are important. All of it's super important. So this is not chronological order of importance, just so everyone is made aware of that one. But first things first, you got soft economic data coming out this week. It's not like this week you're going to get CPI or you're going to get the minutes or you're going to get the FOMC statements. You're not going to get any kind of hard economic data that would move the markets up or down like 2 or 3% in a day. Not like what we seen last week, especially on Friday, where you got much hotter than expected PCE that affected the markets quite dramatically. The Nasdaq and the S&P closed down about 1.5% roughly. AMC, on the other hand, just to point this out, was negative less than 1% in regular trading and went up over 1% after hours. So it was actually a net gain on the day by over 0.5%. Despite what was happening in the market. So I think that's important to point out. Just overall, AMC has been performing very well when the markets as a whole really have not been. Now, as far as economic data that we do have, because there is some on Monday, 8:30 in the morning, you get durable goods orders month over month for January. On Tuesday, you get the GDP growth rate for Canada quarter over quarter for Q4. Probably not going to be a huge deal unless there's a big like negative surprise. Who knows? Canada, I always want to say Canada. Canada is so closely linked to America. It's our arguably number one ally, right? We used to share an open border. It can be important, and I'm going to put that out there, but it's not going to be something I think that drastically moves our markets. On Wednesday, 10 o'clock in the morning, ISM Manufacturing PMI. On Thursday, you do get initial jobless claims for February 25th. That could be the one catalyst that could move the market substantially, but you're going to have to come in much higher or much lower than the estimate of 193,000. Does not look likely. And then on Friday, You get the ISM non-manufacturing PMI for February. None of this is really going to be big, important economic data. You do have Fed speakers scattered throughout this whole week, but I think it's pretty clear it's going to be hawkish. It's going to be not things the markets want to hear. And we've already, to some degree, factored that in, even based off of the PC report coming in super hot on Friday. It's not going to be a huge surprise when they start to talk about, the terminal rate going higher, in which they've already been talking about that. And I personally think the Fed knew this inflation reading just across the board, PCE, PPI, CPI, core, right, was all going to come in high. So they kind of prepped the markets in anticipation of that. So not a lot as far as economic data, which is a good thing because, if the markets are down 2-3% in a day, or even like what we seen on Friday, it can be very hard to be bullish within AMC, even though AMC recently has done just that. Now, something else that is very exciting that really needs to be just broken down for you guys is the market environment. And I've talked about this a couple of times, and if you've been an investor for a while now, kind of ever since COVID, if you started investing before or after the COVID crash in 2020, then you've seen quite a few different market sentiments kind of divulge, right? During the COVID crash, it was a little bit of fear, but we knew things were going to be okay once we were going to get vaccines. It was off to the races. People started to print money. It was boom time until about midway through 2021. Then people started to fear, hey, inflation is coming up. The Fed's going to have to start raising rates. And it was a slow escalation until it was not, until the Fed was raising rates 50 basis points and 75 basis points. And then you've seen the markets get very fearful, sell off assets really across the board. Bonds, stocks, it was not the year for a 60-40 stock to bond portfolio. So you've seen these market kind of trends, for lack of a better word, play out. And in 2022, when the Fed was tightening, it did not matter what an unprofitable company said or reported. If they were not profitable, it didn't matter. Very few stocks in 2022 on earnings that were unprofitable, even when they beat estimates, went higher. Most of them went lower. I would say 97% of the time, stocks would go lower even if they beat estimates by a big degree, because that was the market environment. To a certain extent, the algorithms were programmed to short stocks as soon as those reports came out if it was unprofitable, if they were an unprofitable company. Well, now in 2023, we're more forward-looking to 2024 and 2025. Whereas if a company is unprofitable today, like AMC, but they beat estimates on revenue and, top and bottom lines and give you good guidance, these stocks are rallying 10 to 20%, regardless of if they are profitable or not, if they have free cash flow or not. And to some degree, some companies, you don't even have to beat estimates on numbers, right? If you give good guidance, that's all that really matters. And AMC, I think, is obviously going to do that. After all, you guys can see from this article right here, from Zacks Consensus Estimates, or Zacks Equity Research, I guess, put out this article. It says AMC Entertainment expected to beat earnings estimates. What to know ahead of Q4 release. Now, AMC earnings come out on Tuesday, and I think it's pretty well known that AMC is going to be on earnings. The thing that is going to be the most important, though, I just said it, is going to be guidance. And I think AMC is going to give us great guidance. If Adam Aron's Twitter is any reference to the kind of verbiage that we're going to hear on the AMC earnings call, it's going to be very positive. He's going to say, yeah, we're getting to a path of profitability. We're going to have XYZ initiative or different thing happening, the credit card business. We're waiting for a lot of updates, a popcorn business in like Kroger's and Walmart's. We're waiting on a lot of that. And I don't even think that will be important really at all. It's the overall statement of, does AMC think 2023 is going to be better than 2022? And the obvious answer to that for us that follow this company and have followed this company for the last year or two, know that that is going to be the case, and that ultimately is what is going to send AMC higher. Now, a lot of people were confused on the video that I just put out yesterday, talking about a 10 to 20% rally upon AMC earnings. I mean, after the initial report, a lot of people thought that that was like an assessment for the whole week, and that is not what I was trying to convey. I think the initial reaction is going to be 10 to 20% positive. Where we go Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday after AMC earnings on Tuesday, I mean, that could send you 50 to 100% higher, in my personal opinion, just depending on what is said to the degree of the earnings beat that we do get. So there's a couple different variables there, but I do expect an overall very positive next week. Now, something that I think could give us some more fuel to this rally is definitely going to be the FTDs, because over the last couple of weeks, you've seen a lot of FTDs come due, and you've kind of seen this escalation of FTDs, if you will, going from, couple thousand FTDs back here in January, right? January 3rd, the first couple of weeks of January, couple 100,000, scaling up to 1 million some days. Well, now, this upcoming week, on Monday, you are going to get 2.1 million FTDs. On Tuesday, the day AMC reports earnings, 2 million FTDs. On Wednesday, 3.2 million FTDs. On Thursday, 3 million FTDs. And on Friday, about 2.9 million FTDs. So this is going to be the biggest week of failure to delivers. And with that being said, it's going to have, I would say, a positive reaction on AMC stock, given, if earnings are good and AMC actually does go higher. I think this could just add fuel to that fire. Now, at the same time, if we do get an update from AMC on the shareholder vote for March 14th, that will also be big as well, because some pension funds are actually suing AMC over this vote, trying to delay it or just dissolve the whole thing in general. So that's what has kind of helped to fuel some of this optimism, because let me tell you guys, the overall strategy of hedge funds as of recently has been short AMC, buy ape. Whereas if this vote never happens, that arbitrage strategy is no longer viable. So you would want to cover on your AMC, because at that point AMC is going to go much higher, since it was pricing in more dilution that maybe ultimately does not happen. Now, as far as the stock O tracker data for this upcoming week, not going to be a huge week for option activity. Got about 19,000 calls in the money, 63,000 calls out of the money, 9,000 puts in the money, and about 87,000 puts out of the money. So not going to be a huge week at all, really, as far as the option activity. If we take a look at the Stocko tracker data, 23.5% live short interest of free float, 121 million shares that are currently sold short. Cost to borrow rates over at Interactive Brokers, 289.03%. Cost to borrow max of 380%. Cost to borrow minimum of 335.9%. So here is some of the numbers, and obviously, as you guys do know, I think a lot of the short interest is actually being hidden on the option chain, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. On top of all of that, you're going to get more earnings coming out. Some of these companies could be important to certain sectors of the markets. Monday pre-market, you have Fubo, Zoom, Monday after hours, Oxy, Tuesday pre-market, Norwegian Cruise Line, Target, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, Tuesday after hours, Rivian, AMC, Blink Charging, Monster Energy, Wednesday pre-market, Neo, Wendy's, Lowe's, Dollar Tree, Kohl's, Jack in the Box, Abercrombie and Fitch, Wednesday after hours, Salesforce, Snowflake, and Plug, Thursday pre-market, Best Buy, Macy's, Kroger, Big Lots, Burlington, TD Bank, TD Ameritrade. Thursday after hours, Costco, C3AI, ChargePoint, Broadcom, and then Friday pre-market, you're going to get some random companies here and there that won't matter too much. None of these companies, though, are your Apples, your Amazons, your Teslas, your Nvidias. None of these are going to be the reason that the markets could go much higher or much lower. They're not hugely weighted companies in the overall market. So I do think that is something that is a positive thing for AMC for this upcoming week heading into earnings. Now, on a technical basis, the thing that I really want to stress to you guys is this downtrending line of resistance. We've talked about this in a bunch of videos so far. But you are above this, and really from here to not be above this, heading into AMC earnings to be in more of a bearish overall stance towards AMC, you're going to have to fall about 14% Monday and then through Tuesday into after hours. So you're going to have to see an average of a 7% decline on Monday and a 7% decline on Tuesday before AMC would go into negative territory. So when you factor all of this together, look at the charts here. If you get some surprise information from AMC earnings and good guidance, or just one of those, right? If you get good guidance in and of itself, I think the stock could easily rally 50 to 100% in this next upcoming week. And for context here, a 50% rally from here would put the stock at $9.31 per share. Like, it wouldn't even be a huge dollar for dollar move in AMC. A 100% rally from here would put the stock roughly at about $15 per share. So I think that's more on the best case scenario. My base case scenario would be for around a 50% rally, taking AMC up a couple of dollars by the end of this week. It's going to mean there's a lot of potential opportunity. So, like I said, if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video. Nonetheless, that is going to do it for this video. We will give you guys a deeper, in-depth technical breakdown, as well as talk about how shorts are hiding their short interest, as well as this arbitrage trade that is starting to go sour for the hedge funds. All of this could again help AMC rally in the week ahead. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and most certainly if you made it to the end of this video. But most importantly, above everything else that we have talked about, enjoy your day and your weekends, and I will see you in the next one.